Okay, what I'm seeing here is the bridge is there, but you're not crossing over because you're looking down. So there's a bridge here, and I think there's an opportunity. But I don't think you thought you'd be able to take up this opportunity. You might still be feeling like that now. I think this is a work opportunity. I'm getting the feeling it might be a project or something like that, because I'm seeing a group with a lot of people kind of having different says in things, everyone kind of having an equal say. So it might be a project or a business, something like that. It might be a new job, it might just be how they run things, I don't know. But I am seeing a group. And I know this is specific, but yeah, there's a group of people that are coming together. They might be pooling their resources. There's some kind of business they're starting, or they've just started it. It's something that's quite new, I think. And or it might be a job, but yeah, there's a lot of independence around this. That's why I'm thinking it could be a business. And the feeling I'm getting around you is that you felt that you'd either missed out on this, maybe you felt as if you couldn't do this for some reason. I'm getting some financial problems around this, because I keep on seeing this group and they're kind of pooling their expertise, but they're pooling their resources as well to kind of set this project up or this business. And maybe you felt that you wouldn't have been able to help them in that way financially or contribute. You're in a different position now to what you used to be in financially. That's what I'm seeing. But it's not as bad as you're imagining, because I think you're in a lot of better position once than you are now, and you're kind of making yourself seem as if, or making it look as if it's really, really terrible when it's really not. I think you could have done this actually. I don't think things are anywhere near as bad as you think they are. Some other people are probably willing to help you financially if you need it. There are some people who are willing to step up for you, I think. And I also think it's not really your finances that are the big thing that they want here. I think it's your expertise. Your skills and your expertise. I'm seeing that that's what they want. So I think at some time in your past, maybe you're in a job or something or doing some other project, and you might have felt as if you're being carried, or maybe you're accused of not pulling your weight. It's something like that. I think you were. I think there were a lot of resentful people around your old job or whatever this was, and they said these kinds of things to you. But I just think whatever they said to you in the past, I think it probably stuck with you, and maybe you didn't want to be carried again, if that makes sense. I know this is all very specific, but if this is resonating with you, you've got to let go of this past hurt if this is what you're feeling. You can't let your bruised ego stop you from saying yes to these new opportunities. If you've already said no to this, or if you're thinking about saying no to this, say yes, absolutely say yes to this, because I think the end result of this is going to be really, really good. And I think you still can say yes, because there's this bridge here. You can still cross over the bridge. It's going to be really, really good. I think you're going to be really glad that you did say yes, if that's what you do. You have really good skills, and you know what you're doing. And I think you underestimate that sometimes. And you think the worst of yourself sometimes as well. Don't do that. You're worth a lot more than you think. They wouldn't have considered you for this if you weren't worth it. That's what I'm seeing. So yeah, if you think you've missed the opportunity, or if you've said no already, try and go back and say yes again. See if you can. Because I think the bridge is still there. You can still go over it. Okay, so the next card you have, you pass the World. Yeah, it's not too late. Look at this. Say yes to this. It might even eventually set you up for financial freedom. Look at how free this woman is. She's carrying 2 magic wands, not one, but two of them. And, this is victory as well. Look at this laurel wreath around her. So, you might have had, I think you have this kind of worry as well. I'm getting this as well, that this is going to be a bit risky. You're a bit risk averse. You might think, oh, I'm going to put a lot into this, a lot of work, a lot of money or something, and I'm not going to get anything out, and I'm really worried. I'm going to put all this work in. And I think this is because you did come from this time when there was a time when you were feeling really down financially. A lot of problems happened to you financially. You lost a lot of money at one time. And that's why you're feeling like this. That's why you're so cautious. I don't think this is as risky as you think it is. If you look at this woman, she's free. Yeah, she is. But she's totally surrounded. She's protected by this wreath. And I think if you do this, you'll have a lot of freedom to make your own decisions, but you'll also be protected. And this is the best of both worlds. This is what people dream about when it comes to work, having protection, but also having freedom. So at least think about this. If you're considering this, at least think about this. Try not to think about past jobs or what people have said or whatever. I think you might be subconsciously dragging yourself back into the past. You don't want to do that. There's no point in that. Please look forward, not backwards. Look at this. You could be like this. So, yeah, the last card you have your past is the Wheel of Fortune. So look at this. You have the World and now you have this. If you do this, the changes are going to be really positive for you. If you know what this is, it really is the best of both worlds. That's what I'm seeing. So at least think about this. I'm not going to keep on repeating myself about that. I'm also seeing someone coming around to you, actually, coming around to you with this wheel. I'm seeing it turning around and around. So I think this person's been round to you before. They're coming around, might be a second time, might even be a third time. I think they're either just thinking about coming around to you again, or they've already contacted you and they're kind of just talking to you a little bit. It might be either, could be either of those two things. Now, if they've contacted you, it might be just as a friend at this stage, or maybe they kind of try to ask you something and they've kept the conversation going. I'm seeing a few little text messages, nothing big, but I think they are showing you that they do want to keep up some kind of connection between you. And to me, I think they're just testing the waters. I think they're seeing if you're open to them. So they're just kind of putting their little toe in the water, seeing if you're okay. And if you're okay with that, then they might talk a little bit more, that kind of thing. There's a lot of backwards and forwards here. I don't know whether you've come backwards and forwards or they have, might be both of you. I think at one time, I think you would have been really excited to hear from them or even get a text or anything from them. Oh, yes, they're contacting me. I'm so excited. You were so wrapped up in this person at one time. You really were at one time. But not so much now. Not so much now. Okay, I don't know. Okay, I don't know if this is going to make sense, but this is what I'm seeing. So if you have a pendulum, and you just hold it up and it starts swinging naturally, it starts swinging forwards and backwards. And each time it swings, the momentum gradually becomes less and less until it kind of stops in the middle somewhere. So for you, each time you connect again, your pendulum kind of doesn't quite swing as close to them as last time. It becomes less, the momentum becomes less and less. So the feeling I'm getting is, you're not unhappy to hear from them, but you're not as happy and excited as you would have been once. So, and that's actually a good thing because it shows me you're a lot stronger than you were. You've changed a lot, and you're also on your guard a little bit, I think, as well, like this Sphinx holding up this sword at the top of this wheel. So I don't think you're totally guarding yourself, but you're not totally opening yourself up either. You're just being a little bit careful. And they're probably sensing this from you if they've already contacted you. And they're kind of just saying little things to you, just so that you don't kind of say, no, goodbye. They're just kind of being very careful with you. That's what I'm seeing. Okay, so the first card you have for your presence, the Seven of Cups. Yeah, this is really confusing, messy, all of that kind of thing. It's a horrible card. Someone's left in the dark. This poor man's left in the dark. So maybe this is why you're being so guarded. I think there was a time, maybe more than one time, when you were together, when there might have been a little bit secretive. They weren't opening up to you, all of that kind of thing. And also I think you gave a lot to them as well, and I don't think, even now, I don't think they realise how much you gave to them. So you gave and gave, and they were kind of guarded. They did give to you sometimes, but not anywhere near as much you gave to them. That's what I'm seeing in this card. I think you gave to them emotionally, mentally, maybe even practically. So I don't think they totally kept you in the dark like this poor man. It wasn't that bad, but you definitely didn't know where you stood with them sometimes. That's the feeling I'm getting. And it wasn't very fair on you. So this is why you're a bit guarded. You're different now. You're working on yourself. You're working on your own things. You don't have time for these guessing games. But you're still open to contacting them. I think I think you still might have a little place in your heart for them. Actually, you don't mind talking to them. You haven't cut them off. But I think if you did eventually get back together properly, I think it'd have to be under some kind of condition for you, that they'd be completely transparent with you this time. I think it'd have to be like that for you. I think. Yeah, I think you'd have to, you probably, if you want to, you'll probably have some kind of talk with them if you do get closer and closer together, and you'll probably say, look, you have to be transparent this time. I can't do this all around. I can't go on this wheel of fortune, this merry-go-round, this carousel, around and around again, with the same thing happen again. Something different has to happen this time. I actually think, you might be friends at this time, or you might just be talking, but you might look as if you're okay being friends, but I think you would like more than this with them deep down. You still have them in your heart a bit. So, yeah, if this resonates, I think ultimately, if you do get closer and closer together, if this keeps on happening, I think you're going to have to set a few pretty firm boundaries that you're going to have to be quite clear on if this does turn into something again. There are a lot of things that need to happen before that happens. A lot of variables might happen. It might not. You might not get together. But yeah, I think they'd definitely like to. They'd definitely like to get closer to you. That's what I'm seeing in that card. They would. They'd like to. But I don't think they're aware of how the kind of problems they gave you the last time around. I don't think they're aware of that. So I think you're going to have to make them aware of that as well, if this is something that you want. So the next card you have your presence, the Page of Wands. Okay, so I don't mean to keep on talking about this person, but I keep on seeing them. Look at the way this page is looking up to the top of this wand. It's like, he's aspiring to get to where he wants to go. He's looking up. He wants to go up. But he doesn't know if he can actually do this. The pages are students. They're just learning. So, yeah, this person's thinking about how they're going to do this. How am I going to get close to this person? How am I going to encourage them to come close to me? That's what they're thinking, I think. There's a lot of cautiousness here. I think they might also be a little bit worried about whether they'll fit in with you now, because you're very different now. Look at how this page is dressed. He's in winter clothes, but he's in the desert, so he doesn't quite fit into his surroundings. So I think they might be worried about fitting in with you now, whether they're going to fit in with what you want, all of that kind of thing. The other thing is, wands are about action, but there's no action happening in this card, nothing. He's holding on tightly to this wand. He doesn't want to let it go, but nothing's moving. There's this feeling as well around this I'm getting that is about being apprehensive, worried. So I think with this job or this business that I'm seeing here, or anything else that you'd like to get into that you're a little bit afraid of, you're being very, very, very cautious, very, very afraid. And it's okay to be cautious but not afraid. Caution's fine. It could stop you from taking crazy risks and doing mad things. But I think you need a little bit more risk in your life, actually. That's what I'm seeing. Don't be angry. Just have a look at this. I'm just looking at these pyramids on this card. Right at the bottom, there are these 3 pyramids. Now, if you think about pyramids, they have 4 sides. They have 3 sides that are going up, and the 4th side is facing the earth, that's flat. A lot of people think they have 3, but I see them as 4. So 3 going up to the heavens, pointing upwards, and the other side's flat. So yeah, you need to be down to earth, of course you do, but most of your outlook needs to be pointing up toward the heavens, like these pyramids. That's where the growth is, that's where the movement is, going up. Don't stay flat, stuck to the earth. You know, you don't have to jump into this new thing. You don't have to throw away everything else. You can start things, you can test things, start off slowly. You know, even if you said yes to this thing right now, it's not going to start right now. You're going to have time to settle in. It's going to, you know, if it's a job, someone's going to have to leave before you start, and they're going to have to kind of sort things out for you legally and all of that kind of thing. This is a business. It takes time. So don't worry about jumping in and being risky. I don't think that's going to happen here. I'm not seeing that. Yeah, think about this really, really carefully, because I'm getting messages all over the place about you having to push this, do this, don't just sit there and do nothing. That's what I'm seeing in that card. I hope that made sense. I know that was a bit kind of crazy. Okay, so the last card you have, your presence, the 8 of Swords. Yeah. Okay. There's a bit of a power struggle, I think, here. It's something like that. Yeah, I think I saw a similar thing to this in your last reading. So yeah, if it is a similar thing to that, it's a situation that's still going on. I think this is about your family or someone in your family. And yeah, they're quite stuck in their ways. They're stuck in their thinking. And I think you've had a few falling outs with this person. They think they're right. That's what I'm getting. They think they're right. And they're very similar to you in a lot of ways, actually, but they're the opposite in a lot of ways as well. So in some things, they're absolutely, you know, really, really similar to you, almost the same. And in other areas, they're very, very different. And you've moved very far away from them. This is your family. You might be a parent. You've moved very far away from them, very far away from where they are. Like this woman, she's far away from her home, but she feels stuck because she has all these swords around her. She can't move. So I think you felt quite stuck a lot of the time because of what this person said to you in your past. Maybe you grew up with this person, they're very difficult. Maybe they chastised you, maybe they were angry with you a lot of the time. And you were held back by their words. But now you've moved on from that and you've moved forward. So maybe they're still influencing you. Maybe that's why I'm getting this fear of taking up this job or this business. They've knocked your confidence about a bit, I think, this person. They've kind of eroded your confidence. But now I think they're going to need your help in some way. And yeah, this is what I was seeing before. This is in your last reading. So I think yeah, this is continuing on. Now, this person's going to be very difficult when you help them. Again, they're very stuck in their ways. They don't like change. It's not going to be easy for you. I'm seeing all these kind of pent-up feelings that have come from your past. They're on top of you. They're going to be bothering you. Also, you've got this stubborn person. So it's a very, very difficult combination of things, a combination of feelings. Yeah, and I'm also seeing this person was really huge. This is why I think this person might be a parent. They were very huge to you. They were a big, huge, important person in your life. And now you're a lot bigger and they seem a lot smaller to you, quite fragile. So, yeah, you're going to have a whole lot of conflicting emotions inside of you, sort of swirling around inside of you if this resonates, and you're going to be taking care of this person. So, you know, take care of yourself as well while you're doing this. You know, whatever this is that you're doing, that you're helping them with, you know, take some breaks, take some time away, do what you can to make yourself as comfortable as you possibly can, because it's going to be really, really trying, really difficult for you emotionally. That's what I'm seeing. So really take care of yourself. So the first card you have in your future is the Hermit. Yeah, again, I'm seeing someone who used to be really strong and now they're not as strong. And, you know, even though you've had a lot of problems with this person, it's it's not going to be easy for you to see them like this. It's not like you're saying, oh, now first they were strong, now they're weak, and they're horrible to me, ha ha ha. It's not like that. It's going to actually be quite upsetting for you to see them in this kind of weak position. You know, if you look at this Hermit, he's up on a mountain, he's up on a high plain. So this is about you taking the high ground, I think, because they're not going to be easy to deal with. They're quite bitter, they're quite angry, they don't like looking weak, they don't like looking vulnerable, and they are going to be in a vulnerable position. I think, you know, to them, accepting any kind of help at all means that they're weak or they're vulnerable. Doesn't mean that, but that's how they see things. So again, you know, take care of them. I think that's what you're going to do, but mostly make sure you take care of yourself. Be as self-preserving as you can, you know, be as self-protective as you can. I think this is quite an angry person as well, and I think they might lash out. So, you know, just be very self-preserving. Try to be patient, of course, but if it all gets too much, you can go off, you can leave for a while and come back again, take some breaks. Right, so the next card you have for your future is the Eight of Pentacles. Okay, so this is about this person who's trying to come closer to you. They're working on themselves, which is what you've done, and they're trying to show you they've got things together, they're fitter, they're happier, they're doing well at their job, all of that kind of thing. I don't think they've shown you this new side of them yet. You know, they probably hinted at it. I think you have spoken to them a few times. You know, but they're working really hard. They want you to see this kind of improved version of them. And that's what's on their mind. It's like, I'm improving, and they'll see this. That's kind of what they're thinking. And, you know, that's fantastic. There's nothing wrong with, you know, self-improvement. It's fine. But if what I'm seeing here is correct, what they really need to change is their confusing behaviour, and, you know, the fact that they might not have appreciated everything you've done for them. That's what I'm seeing in the Seven of Cups. That's how you felt in the past. So that's something that's going to have to change. They can't just change on the outside, they have to change on the inside as well. I'm not saying they're a terrible person. You know, you might have to make some changes as well if you want to be with this person, I don't know. But yeah, a lot of changes are going to happen, not just on the outside, but on the inside as well. And if anything's going to work between you, that's what's going to happen. Okay, so the last card you have, your futures, the Page of Cups. So yeah, I think this person's either travelled or they're going to travel. And that's partly to see you, I think. I don't know if you're long distance or if you're just not around them right now, because I'm seeing texts going backwards and forwards, but no face-to-face meetings. I think they definitely want to keep this communication up with you, but they don't want to scare you off. They're a bit afraid of kind of being coming on too strong. You know, that they don't want to scare you away. You know, this page is communicating, but he's very light-hearted, so maybe they're just kind of being very light-hearted. Hey, how are you? Here's a joke, being a bit light. Nothing deep, nothing meaningful. Also, I don't think they're showing you a lot of passion. They do have passion for you, but I don't think they're showing that to you at this time, because again, they don't want to scare you off. If you look at this page, he's got blue around his head, so it's very cool. So this is the impression they want to give you, that they're not thinking about passion with you. They're just thinking about, you know, friendship, things that are more cool. But really what they're really thinking about you is what is happening in the Page of Wands, which is that he has a feather on his hat. So he's got red near his head. So this person does have passion for you, but they're not going to be showing that to you for a while. They're going to be holding back, keeping their cool, because they don't want to scare you away. But I think gradually they are going to come closer to you. You are going to see what their intentions are. And I think, you know, when you do finally get properly together, or kind of right on the verge of that, you're going to have this talk with them. That's what I'm seeing. If that happens, you know, because there are a lot of variables that still could happen there, but that's what they're thinking at this time. So Libra, I hope this resonated, but as you know, general readings can't always resonate. But again, if you like this reading, please like, subscribe, leave a comment if you'd like to, and thank you so much for watching.